Hello friends, welcome to this tutorial series of StateFlows, and in this video we are going to discuss about StateFlows. So as this name suggests, the StateFlows are used to keep the UI state in int. So it is very similar to the live data and can be a better replacement for live data because it has access to all the functions which I have discussed in the previous video, like the map, filter, on start, on completion, on each. We can access all of the functions on that. So it becomes a very convenient choice to filter out the data or to modify the incoming data. And in the previous video, we discussed about the normal flow, but in this video, we are going to discuss about the state flow. The previous one was the cold flow, and now the state flow is a hot flow. So it means it will continue to emit the values even if there are no any characters. So just let's jump into Android Studio and see practically how it works. Here I'm in an Android Studio project which we are building in this tutorial series. I have just cleared the code for the previous tutorial, like we have written the code for the cold flow, that is normal flow, and I have already created the reference for this main view model. So that's it. That's nothing special in this code right now, but here we are going to implement the state flow. So how to declare the state flow? It is just some like different, like it doesn't have the block of code like a flow. So let's try declare it. We are going to here declare as a state flow equal to, sorry, private val, it should be private val state flow equal to, we can declare it as a mutable state flow. So there we will be creating two versions of this one. This is the mutable version, so that we should be able to modify its value within the view model, and one version will be creating as a, let's just me plug into our power adapter and then we can continue. Okay, so let's continue. So this is an mutable version, so that we should be able to change the value of this flow within the view model and not from outside. So we just need to declare an initial value here, that's a 0, and now I'll be creating one public version that will be an immutable version, so that outside, like main activity, from the main activity we should be able to observe this flow but should not be able to change this. That's why we want to public one version, but public an immutable version. So we can just write state flow equal to underscore state flow dot, we have function as state flow. So this function will convert this mutable version to an immutable version. So if you can hover this one, this is an immutable version of the state flow. So that's it, our flow is now ready. And what we'll do, we have the zero value initially here, and we'll just make a one function here, function increment. So after clicking on this function, what we'll do, we will be incrementing the value of this mutable version, and we can increment the value with the help of dot value. Dot value equal to, let's, we can write is a plus equal to 1, so that value will be incremented and it will be reflected here. As soon as we'll update the value here, it will be reflected here. Now we can call this function from the main activity. Now let's go to main activity, and how we will be able to observe this flow, same as we did in the previous video. We need to launch a coroutine lifecycle scope dot launch. Inside this, repeat on lifecycle block with the lifecycle as a started, state dot started. Okay, now we can access it, view model dot state flow dot collect, and here in the collect we'll get that value. Okay, now if we hover on this one, this is an integer value. So what we'll do, let's create a one button here. Let's change here to convert the text view to the button. Okay, it is coming as a 0, and when we press on this one, we want to increment this value. Okay, I have already given it as an id as a value. I am coming here, so I'll just write here binding dot button value dot text equal to value. Okay, dot toString. So now whenever I click on that one, this Okay, I also need to uh, call and set an on click listener on this one, so that we should be able to call that increment function in the view model. So binding dot value dot set on click listener. Here I'll again reference to view model dot increment function. So when I click on this one, this block will get executed, and this increment function we are calling from here. So what increment function will do, it will increment the value of the flow, and we are here observing the value, and as soon as the value is changed, the observer will notify here, and this code will be executed, and that is the string will be updated. So now let's run our application and see how it works. Yes, now application is now running, and I just click on this button, and yes, it is getting incremented. 1 2 3 4 5 7. Okay, now I rotate my device. If I rotate my device, still the value is getting persisted, because what happens in the state flow is get fired after activity recreation. That is, the activity gets recreated after we the rotate the device, and then the flow gets uh, re-triggered. It again triggers the flow. In order to understand this one, I'll put one log statement here, log d, put the same message, flow. What was that log message? Track flow. Yes, track flow. And here I'll just write state flow triggered. Okay, now we'll check both the device and a logcat. Here application will be launched. I'll just click on this button, and pixel 2. Yeah, you can see here state flow triggered. So when the activity first started, then state flow is triggered. That's why you are seeing this at the first time. And when I clicked on it, then second time again the state flow is triggered. When I click on this again, you can see here state flow triggered, and all these things happened, and the observable has set this value to text view. Now let me clear this logcat, and I am not doing anything. I just rotate the device, and automatically you can see here state flow gets triggered. So we can see here that state is maintained because state flow is gets triggered even after the activity recreation. So that is the main point behind the state flow. It has the UI state. Now another thing, one more thing I wanted to show you here. So let me just minimize this one and stop the application. Now in the last video, we have discussed the example of the movie. Let's say there is one movie that is being shown in the theater, and we both are going to the theater. You went on time, but I reached late. I reached after the interval, so I'll be getting only the movie after the interval. So this is going to happen if we have two collectors, but one collector is present from the starting and second collector is joins late. Then it will get the data since the moment it has started collecting. It has joined, and it will lose all the previous data. So in order to simulate that practically, let me just do the same thing which we did in the last tutorial. Here we'll write one function, uh, start counter. Okay, so this will be a function which will start the incrementing it, uh, where value equal to 0, and while this value is greater than, sorry, it less than 10, we want to continue this loop. And here we will be updating the value plus plus. We want to set the value, the state flow dot value equal to this value. Okay, and we'll call the start counter in the init method itself, start counter. Okay, now the counter will be started as soon as the application gets launched. So here and here we will show that value. So I'll just write it as a flow one, let's say collector one dollar value, and I'll just copy this and create a second collector named as a collector 2, and here I'll just write, but here I'll be putting a delay statement. So this will start after the 3 seconds, 3 seconds. So yes, now let's run our application. Let me clear the locket first and see what happens in the locket. Yes, our application will be started, and you can write, okay, sorry, I haven't put a delay here, so that's why it started all the emissions all at once. Okay, so I'll just put a delay here, delay of 1000 milliseconds. So I had to launch a coroutine here, view model scope dot launch. Let's put all this code here. That's fine. Now the locket and start. Yeah, now you can see 0 1 2 3 and all has started. I mean emissions has been started and collectors has joined, and they started the collecting the data. Now if you observe here, collector 1 has started from the initial stage, so that's why it said collected 0 1 2 all the things, but collector 2 has joined late, so 1 2 3, so there were already 0 1 and 2, these three digit where these three emissions were already happened, and then the collector 2 joined, but then collector 2 will get only the values which are going to emit from now onwards. So collector 2 directly got the value 2 3 4. I mean the collector 2 has lost its previous value, that is 0 1 and 2, and this is what happens with the hot flows. So this is the difference between the cold and hot flow. We have simulated this same example in the previous video of a normal flow, but that time even though the collector had joined after 3 seconds, it was able to get the first data as well. But here in the hot flow, it is not the case. It will just start emitting, and whenever the collector join, then onwards it will get the data, it will lose this previous data. So that's it for this tutorial. I just wanted to show you how to use the state and how it compares with the live data, so you can get any API call and then collect that API call in a state flow, and then you can start you can keep notified your observer about the changes. So basically we have used the collect here, but you can also use the collect latest function, because the collect latest will only care for the latest items, because in the UI you only care about the what is the latest state is here, and that's why you can use the collect latest function as well. I hope now you have the clear concept about the state flow. If you still have some doubts, then you can put your questions in the comment box below. I will try my best to answer those. If you like this video, then please click on like, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you will be notified whenever such a new video is published. We will meet in the next tutorial with some other interesting topic. Till then, goodbye.